Hello, I'm back again. I don't know why it's looking like so sunny outside. It's literally just a gray day. Uh, but the sun is powerful, I guess. I just ate like just an unusually large breakfast, and I'm just questioning like why I did any of that right now. Aside from it being just excessive, I know like I'm getting to that age where there's things that just make me tired, and I just can't really eat anymore. And I'm thinking that bacon is going to be one of the next things on the list, which is like heartbreaking. Um, Another reason why Jesus needs to come back so I can eat bacon again. But I ate some bacon and I know I'm going to take like a 3 hour nap. Like, it's just so sad. We'll see. Um, okay, so I already had kind of a tall order for this thing that I'm trying to explain. But I have got to tell y'all what just happened. And I mean, this is just amazing. So I did a video about me having a dog and all the parallels about having a dog. I think I had to talk about it multiple times. I cannot get over this. The dog master relationship is literally the overlooked parallel that we need in our lives as Christians. I know that as soon as you hear it, you're like, I'm the dog. Like, it's right there. It's right there. This will help you understand so much because people are like, oh, well, what if this and what? And what if I do sin? It's like, oh well, God will forgive you. Yeah, but what if this and this and this? Oh, but once you're saved, you're always saved. Oh, but this and this. Oh, but but no, He requires obedience. Okay, but the fear of the Lord. Oh, but I don't like the fear of the Lord. Like all of this crap. It's literally dog owner. This is what we're dealing with, guys. This will clear it all the way up. Just think about a dog and its owner. An owner that loves his dog. Okay? And really be objective about it. The best, and not just any old owner. We're not talking about an abusive dog fighting owner. We're talking about the best owner in the freaking world. Cesar Milano owner is what we're dealing with. Okay? And you being just a very varying different types of dogs. Good dogs, bad dogs, abused dogs, whatever. That's us. So, especially when we're talking about the lordship thing, and we don't really have an equivalent in life. Like we've heard about it historically. We know that people were called lords, but that was usually about some governmental thing. We know just a little bit that in the Bible, a lord was somebody who had servants, and the word servant is used a lot. The word master is used, so we can sort of glean from that. Even though that makes us think of like chattel slavery. Um, but this is a legitimate relationship, whether you don't agree with slavery or not, or agree with whatever, the dynamic or not. The servant master relationship precedes everything, and it is a legitimate, real relationship. And the closest thing that we have today is the dog owner relationship. And I think it's better than the master servant parallel. And I think if more people had pets and it was like a domestic situation, God would use that metaphor today. I do. Because let me just tell you. So we've had this dog for it seems like it's been like, I don't know, it's been like 8 weeks or something. Or 7 weeks, whatever. Doesn't matter. So he's a puppy. He's getting better about the potty training. Now we're on to the biting situation. He likes to bite because he's a dog. That's his nature. he also has another nature that I would argue is a God-given nature, which is he loves us. He wants to be around us. He wants to make us happy. He wants to be happy. He wants to be a happy dog, hanging out. It's very clear that that is his goal in life. He's not doing a flim flam on us. He's not trying to get free housing and use us for whatever. He has no nefarious, he's not trying to take over the world. He's trying to be a happy dog and please his owners. So I think in the first phase of my understanding, like I was really marveling at this whole thing, and I was just like really seeing the parallels, because you see this dog who wants to do what we want him to do, or he wants us to make us happy, but he doesn't. He also has his own dog way of doing things that includes chewing up things and, biting when he's playing around. And if he thinks you're playing around when he's playing around, he's going to start biting. And so he clearly wants to make us happy, but is not. He's getting punished. He's getting in trouble. He doesn't understand. And I just saw a lot of parallels with that. and just in everything that I was looking up about the training, just being mainly about communication. It wasn't so much train the dog to do what you want. It's like you have to communicate. You have to make sure that the dog can understand what you're trying to, what you're trying to convey to him. And that to me was like, okay, this is, because I think that God is doing the exact same thing with us, where we are so low and so not where he is. And of course, we see through a glass darkly, and once we get up there, it'll be a different thing. But for now, he's doing this thing with us, and he has got to communicate. He's got to first show us what he means. And it's hard. Even though we have the intelligence that we have, and we have a Bible, and we have, when he starts doing stuff in real life, when things get past, the theoretical and what other people went through, you see other, case studies of other people in the Bible, and then it gets to you, and you're just like, you're going to do something instinctively, and you're going to have to rely on whatever training you've gotten. But when he does something supernatural, you're just like, you don't know what to think about that. You're like, does that mean I'm awesome? Does that mean, whatever? And then it happens again. Now you got to take two things and try to, it's like, well, why did this happen when this was a completely, okay, so it has nothing to do with the place, has nothing to do with the location, has nothing to do with my mood. Why is it? So you got to figure out, and he's going to do that to communicate with you. And it's just so important for you to successfully communicate to your dog so that it can be trained. And the praise has got to be, depending on what it is you're trying to get it to do, the praise has got to be overwhelming. The rewards have got to be good. You can't reward him with some banana treat that he doesn't care about. You got to get the steak out. You got to get the meat out. If you want him to want to do this thing that you want him to do, it's just like, wow, this is like really. So let me just tell you what happened. So we're trying to get the dog to stop biting, right? So I was looking up YouTube videos about it. And I came across a couple of different ones. I saw a Cesar Millan one, which was like the most practical thing about what we were going to do, what we were trying to do. And then I saw a couple others that was just like sort of the philosophy behind certain things. And so the main takeaway that I got was like food. If you can start with food, like you can radiate out from there. Like food is like their main training tool. And so we're like, okay, that's what we're going to do. So me and Sarah, who are the only people in the house who have the wherewithal to even do this right now, we were started to try to train the dog. So everyone was at the table, and of course he's trying to get scraps, he's begging, he's jumping up on people and stuff like that. So I was like trying to do these commands with him. Someone I think had already told him to sit, because as soon as we got him and you say sit a couple times and he knows that means to sit down. So we were doing the sit, good boy, holding out the food, and he's actually really good with like not getting overexcited about food. It's the people that gets him like out of his mind. So like if I hold food in front of him and I tell him to sit, he will not reach for that food. So I was doing that, rewarding him. It was going good. He seemed to be understanding more and more that we were wanting him to behave himself and to get food. Like we wanted good behavior. Like I was feeling good about the training session because I felt like it was a successful communication thing. I was like, okay, he's getting that we are wanting obedience out of him. So I'm feeling really good about it. So we do that. Everyone eats, blah, blah, blah. So I'm in the kitchen. Y'all, I go in the kitchen. I'm making something or whatever. I look up because I have there's like not an island, but like a little bar area. And it's like I can see the dining room from the kitchen. So I look over and the dog, there's a whole dog on my dining room table, just walking around, not walking too much, but like walking, looking from placement to placement, any sort of leftover plate, anything left on there that he can possibly. The dog is on my dining room table. Like he ain't little no more. And he's little still, but I mean, he's still a puppy. That's really insane because he is still a puppy. He's only like 3 months, if that. No, he's 3, almost 4 months. He's got so much growing to do, and he's already done hopped up on my whole dining room table. It was literally 3 seconds of me just watching it, like, and then I was like, Bear, get off my table, boy. Like I was just dumbfounded. I didn't even like, as soon as I was like, hey, no. It was so surreal that I just was watching it. Because not only was it surreal in it, like being like, this dog really got up on my dining room table, but like, it was so clearly the opposite of what he would want. Like, he wants to make us happy. That's very clear. So it was all this like, okay, sit. He's, so proud of his like sitting. He's like, yeah, I got it. I'm gonna sit down. And then I turn over and he's on the table, just his nose in plates. It was so like, wow. Okay, so he's not getting it the way I thought he was getting it. Like, we still got some more to do. Like, so I just was like, dude, this is so us that I can't even deal. This is so us. Like, the way that we'll be doing great. And then the next moment we're doing something so asinine and so just the opposite of the will of God. I literally don't even think God is not mad about it. I know that he's not. Not because, his will and he's just so warm feelings God. It's like, no, the nature of the relationship and him knowing, like, I don't even know the nature of dogs. That caught me off guard. But it was just like, okay, this is going to take some time. Like, it's just a challenge. He's just going, okay, wow, wow, wow. Okay. It's just the challenge. As long as you're still in the thing and you still are, as long as you're still connected to him. I mean, this is very simple. This is very simple. If we can be this way with dogs, he can be this way with us, is what I'm saying. Because I don't even love the dog like that. I don't love the dog the way that God loves us. But, and I'm not that great of a person either. You know, I think this is what Jesus was trying to get across with that whole, like, who among you would give your child a stone and he asked for bread? He's like, listen, this is simple, guys. Like, if you're not worried about your nature in just a regular setting, then don't be worried about my nature. Like, would you do this to your kid? We're not going to do this to like, you're just being insulting. It's like, oh, are you going to kick me out now? It's like, he's like, no, I'm not going to kick you out now. Like, that's insulting. So yeah, he doesn't get mad at us. I know for a fact now. I get it. He doesn't get mad, but it's just like, but you are a challenge. You are a challenge for sure. You spend all that time trying to, it's like, oh, this is going to take more than an afternoon then. Okay. This is going to take days and days and days and weeks and weeks and weeks of consistent behavior. Consistent rewards and or punishments if necessary. So I was just like, this is incredible. This is so us that I can't stand it anymore. Like, this is our exact relationship. But yeah, the Lord Master thing, it's like, or the Lord, what do you call it? Master servant thing. Like, I'm not dictating his entire life. I'm not dictating the dog's entire life just because I'm his master and he's a dog. And just because he's a dog doesn't mean I'm mistreating him. Like, I don't know, we just use that a lot in our language and stuff. It's like, the difference between the dog and the rest of my kids is that the dog needs different stuff. So that's why it's silly to put the dog before your children. It's not because dogs are lesser than your children. It's like, dogs are a whole different thing. And your children are going to need a lot more than your dog is. I mean, it's just like, this is not, people are just making things crazy. So I'm not like waking the dog up in the morning, making sure, it's like, there are certain things at certain times I need him to obey. I need to be able to rely on when we're going outside. I need to know he's not going to run into the street. He's not going to jump up on somebody and bite him. There's just a certain couple of things that I absolutely need full compliance on. And that is not only is that not unreasonable, it is within proper, healthy boundaries. Like, that was like the Cesar Millan thing that I watched, was like this dog that they got, and the dog was just unruly. He was just stepping all over folks' boundaries. He didn't have to be mean-spirited to do it. And it didn't have to be life-threatening for it to be bad. He was spending his whole life outside. He was biting the kids in the face. So he's spending his whole life outside. No one was getting to enjoy the dog, and the dog wasn't getting to enjoy anybody else. And that is the punishment. So when you've got people who are just like they're worried about the punishment, but they don't want to, it's because they don't want to feel any pain, or they don't want to they're scared to feel bad. It's like, no, the actual punishment is the separation from God because you are unruly and you refuse to be ruled. You literally say it out of your mouth. You refuse to be ruled by a force that has every right to rule you and is within their boundaries. You have to be ruled, or this thing isn't going to work. You were bought from a store and brought into a household. You have to be compliant. You don't have any say in anything. So, yeah, but the 5, 10 things that I need the dog to do, if he can do those things, I literally don't care what he does. I would hang out. We would hang out when he wants to hang out. He'd be in the house all the time, at all times. If he can manage to get all of those dozen things that I need him to do, those 10 commandments, hello. If he does that, I wouldn't even mess with him ever. Why? There's no reason to. It would just be him existing and us hanging out, which is a lot like if you walk in the spirit, you won't gratify the desires of the flesh. So you could just get to live. You just get to live. And it's not this constant, like, and even the way that you switch from, like, it could be like, no, stern, like, voice and all of that, loud. He straightens up. Good boy. In 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, it can go from chastise to reward. And there's no hard feelings. There doesn't, what for what? It's just for communication's sake. It's not to, like, so I just, listen, y'all, these people that have to go through a whole emotional thing about, it's like, you need to understand that God is just you're just trying to figure something out. And as long as you're trying to figure something out, like, there's no need to have like all this extra anxiety about it and to feel like it's just so dumb. But I do think it is because we don't have that servant master dynamic. I mean, the closest thing we can think of is like, I'm just assuming, I don't know what anyone else thinks of when they think of, like, when they read about that in the Bible. It's like, are you just thinking about, like, your third shift manager? Like, that's the only person that you have to answer to, and then you go home to your own house and you do whatever you want. Like, you're just thinking about you just being an okay employee. And you're like, well, I was late a couple times, but I showed up, you know what I'm saying? And I do this, I do that. It's like, that's not what this is about. This is about, in those moments where he needs you to be well behaved, and he needs you to just, when he says go, he needs to know that you're going to go. And when he says stay, you're going to stay. And when he says play dead, you're going to play dead. Not be like, what? Why? What's going on? What? Oh, I don't know. I know these people are scary, And if you are that way, that just means there's a lot more training to do. So, as long as you're with him, he'll train you as long as he needs to train you. You trying to get perfect in this lifespan is not going to happen. But be ready to be trained, because that's what he's doing. And when you just do this, like, overly heinous, crazy thing, it's just like, just reminding him of how much time he's got to go with you. And that's all it means. Like, we just get way, I know there's other things in life that are, and it's not like this life is super fun and a walk in the park all the time, but one thing you should never worry about is the relationship between you and God. If you've been reconciled and, through Christ, that is absolutely the last thing you need to be worried about. And, I was thinking about, watching all of these rapture dreams and all of these people, and just the message of that Christ is coming soon, and, we need to get ready. And a couple of people getting words from the Lord saying, like, people aren't ready, and just, begging people to turn to him and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking, man, like, he even though he already knows that it's going to be few and far between, he's still sending this message out. And it just dawned on me, though, because I was like, but you know what? When you die on the cross, When you're God and you make a sacrifice, you sacrifice your own self so that literally every single person, I mean, that sacrifice is powerful enough to cover every single person. Every single person. They just have to accept it and believe. And you can't even get 10%. It's depressing, I imagine. Or it's so sad. And that it really like that parable he tells about the banquet, because we kind of don't get that, because we're like, why is he going out in the street to get people? It's like, oh, is that us? Are we the Gentiles? Are we the people in the street? Like, we just assume that's us or whatever. But it's like, no, it's literally, he's saying, listen, I prepared this whole thing for a particular group, and that group wasn't interested. Well, the food is here, the preparations are here. Cheers, like, we spent money on this thing, like, just to get anybody. Like, that's upsetting when you set out to get everybody, or this one group in particular, but also everybody, because it's powerful enough to cover everybody. And you go from trying to get everybody to just trying to get anybody. Is really like, dude, that's harsh. Yeah, I had something else random that I was going to say, because now I got like 4 minutes left. I definitely can't fit my other thing in. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to leave it there. 20 seconds. I'll give you 20 seconds to come back to me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No. Okay. I'll leave it there for now. That's going to drive me crazy.